Well, the day has finally come to get the JT off-road and start the shakedown process. Hey everybody, welcome to 4x-Trail. I'm Caleb and I'm so pumped because after 4 months in my buddy's shop as he and I chipped away at the long list of modifications for the JT and a couple, probably 3 more months or so of daily driver duty, just getting to know the truck on the road while I finish the last 10% of all those nagging things like wiring up the winch and installing the skid plates, getting the hydro ram welded on the front there, and just a lot of little things. Finally, I'm to the point where took it to a couple different shops, getting it set up and dialed in to the point where I can now take it off-road and hit a trail here locally that I know well and start testing out bump stops and tire clearance on the fender flares, driveline clearance, things like that as we start to cycle the suspension. Before we get aired down, I just want to shout out Rock Jock 4x4 and JE Reel drive shafts. Both of those manufacturers have supported this build, and I'm super proud to be running their components on the JT. More about that in future videos, but for now, let's get aired down and hit this trail. So on a shakedown run like this, it's really helpful to have a trail that you know well, that's not too crazy, but has some spots where you can flex out the vehicle a little bit. But if something were to break or something unexpected happened, you could easily have a buddy come and tow you out without a lot of drama. See the hydro bump there on the passenger front is probably halfway compressed, so there's not a whole lot more bump stop give, and it's about perfect on that flare. It's just kissing the outer edge of that flare again with the wheel turned you know, a good bit as well. So pretty happy with that. Plenty of clearance on the back pinch seam on the firewall side, which is great. Let's look at some of the other corners here. That rear corner bump on the driver's side is just barely kissing the platform, so it's still got some flex to do, but there's enough clearance on top. It doesn't look like there'll be any issues. So far, if anything, just be trimming my flares just a little bit, and potentially this section right here of plastic. But yeah, everything else is looking pretty good. Let's keep rolling. Okay, what's super helpful too is actually, I wanted to have my fender liners on by now, and the ones I ordered from JCR are taking a couple weeks. The other set I had on order were back ordered, so I'm striking out on fender liners, but it's nice with this shakedown not having liners because you really can see where the tires are going to rub on critical components, not just a plastic liner, but what's behind that liner. So it's super helpful. Man, it is so beautiful out here today. I've missed getting out on the trail. Something that is good to keep in mind when you're shaking down a vehicle like this is, I'm listening for rattles, right, or clunks, things like that. So you don't want to have tools and things loose in the bed or the back of the vehicle. I tried to bring the minimum of what I feel like I needed to bring and make sure it's strapped down and secure, so you're not thinking, wait, was that something loose, or is that just something rolling around in the bed? All right, this is actually a great spot to test the lockers because I can turn in the middle of this wash and we'll be able to see the posi, locking in. Rear locker works. Turn off the rear, turn on the front. It's a little hard to see on the front, but it is engaging, so that is great. Good news. The lockers work. How about that? Another aspect of a shakedown run is getting everything nice and hot. Hoses, belts, things like that. Just as you're out here, in my case, out here in the direct sun in the desert, it's nice and hot. So you can see the gauges there, kind of monitoring everything. And everything's in range, temperature-wise, which is great. But still, things are working out here, when you're in the sun and going slow. So good chance to check for leaks when I get back to the house. So I found this rock here, 3 foot, 4 foot, probably 4 foot, to drive up on and just flex it out a little more here in this wash. And you can see on the passenger front, if there was going to be any rubbing, it would be right here. And we are actually just fine. Plenty of room up in there. Same up in here. It's close to the lip of this. It's maybe a ½ inch or so. But inside, there's plenty of room. No clearance issues on the pinch seam there at the firewall. And yeah, that's pretty well answers that, because as you can see, my rear passenger tires off the ground. So that is pretty well maxed out. Let's see on this side. Yeah, no issues here. I could climb in there. That space is so big. Well, this was super helpful today to just cycle the suspension and start getting familiar with the way the JT feels off-road. I got a couple things I still need to tweak and get dialed in, but man, it feels good to finally get this thing off-road in preparation for a big trip I've got coming up with my buddy Jim here real soon. That's why I have the tent and the rack and everything on there. I want to also see how the vehicle feels with some extra weight on it. So that was kind of the other thing we were testing today. So stay tuned. Super pumped to finally get to start using the JT and sharing more content with you guys. We'll see you in the next one.